really don't know where he would be without Charlene and her program.
It's a fantastic program, and we're just so happy that we found this, and there's no other program like it.
I can't tell you how important it is to Noah, for example, because, you know, just thinking about where he'd be without Happy Talker School of Imagination, without that, he would be left behind.
Without School of Imagination, I don't know where my son would have gone to school.
Because it's so unique in the way that it helps the children so individually, and it's all about each kid.
We're gonna help this kid, and we're gonna help them be the best that they could be.
I don't know what these kids would do without a program like this.
That's right. That's right.
He was diagnosed with apraxia at 2 years old. So we were at the Alameda Regional Center, and they recommended Happy Talkers. So we met with Charlene, and Charlene has been working with him now for 3 years on his speech and his motor skills.
He's behind in his speech and his walking. And when we first brought him to School of Imagination, he was 2, and he was saying barely just a handful of sounds. And he was crawling, so he wasn't walking yet. And he then used a walker.
Caleb was a typical 4-year-old who's just really overactive in class and got lost in the 12-to-1 ratio type of program.
Our preschool is a lot different with regards to, it's a very small class size. There's at the maximum 12 kids. Most of the classes have 9 and even less. The ratios are amazing. They're 4-to-1 in our preschool 4s and 5s class, and they go all the way down to 2-to-1.
We had tried other programs, but no one could provide the level of supervision that he needed and access to a community of children for him to play with.
Caleb got started in School of Imagination in January, and right from the start we noticed the difference. You know, big hug, big warm greeting, and right away his confidence soared.
So they work with him closely in an individual setting, in a classroom setting, much more than where we were before.
Both of my kids were late talkers. Noah was actually, my 3-year-old was actually diagnosed with a diagnosis of apraxia, which means his brain doesn't quite tell his mouth exactly the sounds to make. He doesn't speak correctly, there's no denying it, and, sorry.
David has improved dramatically from 3 years ago. He wasn't talking. He had motor skills issues. He couldn't pick up anything, couldn't pick up a pen. Couldn't pick up a pen, couldn't say a word. Now, all he does is talk. And, you know, I don't try to keep him quiet because 3 years ago, I was hoping he would do that. So, you know, at this point, if he keeps on talking, I just let him talk. And it's a wonderful feeling. It really is a wonderful feeling.
After 2 years of being at the School of Imagination, my son has just flourished. He's gone from saying just a handful of sounds to speaking incomplete sentences and saying things that I had only dreamed that he would say. So it's just amazing how far he's come.
First of all, when he got started, he didn't have a single word, and lacked a lot of self-confidence, because that's okay for a 2-year-old, but as he got closer to 3, you know, the other kids in a more typical program would have left him behind, but he was able to make friends and really build his confidence, and you know, you see him and his vocabulary is just amazing now as well.
I don't think I'll ever be able to express to them the gratitude that I have for the great start they've given my son on the rest of his life.
It's so great for the special needs kids in order to have peer models for conversation, but also behavior, and also it's great for the typical kids because they're learning empathy and they're learning awareness and they're learning the ability to help another human. something that isn't always taught in schools.
Caleb is in the classroom with kids with special needs, and he would not be able to tell you which kids those are. And it's like the only opportunity that I've ever seen for kids to come together and special kids to get what they need in a nice, loving, like typical environment.
In this model, everyone's together, everyone's brought together, and they're taught to help each other.
Here's some water.
Thank you so much for helping, Caleb. Good job.
Because he's my friend.
Yeah.
Because the facility is not ours, we have to do things that accommodate the people who allow us to run the program here.
When the church kids come in on Sunday, that has to look exactly like it did the prior Sunday. And we're not even allowed to have a bulletin board up or anything that's hanging on the walls permanently. So the classroom has to look like we were never there.
We want to have a space that's big enough that if we keep growing, that we can meet the needs of all the parents and not have wait lists and not say that, well, we hopefully can get your child in.
There is nothing in the area that's like what we do. There's no group programs that do inclusion with typical kids. There is no program that does, just speech-specific work with 2-to-1 ratios. There's nothing like that. So we're the only one. We're the only game in town.
And with so many kids being diagnosed and so many parents that need this program, and you want to serve the community, I think it's important that we find a place that we can call our own and that has all the different services that we want to offer.
We're leasing 3 classrooms from them, and we've built a playground for the kids' use in order to become zoned and licensed by the state. But that'll all be gone in 2 years. We won't have anything, which is stressful, yeah.
It would definitely be nice to have a stable place that we could call home and that the kids could call their school, indefinitely.
If we had more resources, I could do a lot more, and it's frustrating. And I think that, the amount that I have done is nothing compared to what I could do. Because, I have a great team. I want to provide them with a great place to work, and I think I do that because it's a positive environment, and I care about them, but I want to do more for them, and I do more for the families. I think of like, oh God, this is getting so hard. I just go, but what about that kid I didn't get to talk to? Or what about this family I could have helped if I just kept going? I can picture it, it's as clear as day, that I can provide great programs, I can provide a great school, I can provide great community outreach, I can provide education, all these wonderful things with this great team I have and committees I have now backing me. I just need a place, that's all.
Thank you, Happy My Girl.